What's up, gang? Today, we're in Chicago with it. Land of the backdoor and switches, where you can't even trust your homies, your girl, nor family if the price is right. Welcome to Chicago, the Windy City. Before I forget, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Gang. Let's get straight to it. Who we focusing on? The Flores twins, Pedro and Margarito the Plug. Larger than Big Meech and the shot callers of the shot callers. Pedro and Margarito Flores led an unusual childhood. Growing up in a Chicago neighborhood of Little Village with their father, a high-ranking wholesale cocaine dealer, the identical twin brothers were normalized to the world of drug crime from a young age. Can you imagine the drugs they saw over the years? Gang. Initially, they followed in their father's footsteps, running drugs with the Latin King gang, and yet the brothers' combined characteristics and unwavering commitment to each other endeared them to a host of unscrupulous characters, smashing all the bad chicks, flossing, stunting at a young age. Gang. Uniquely, they were able to connect previously disparate Hispanic and black gangs. The brothers rose quickly through the street gangs, eventually becoming two of the USA's biggest wholesalers of cocaine and heroin. The brothers were seen as businessmen, CEOs of the street with integrity to match, inseparable since birth. Many attribute their success to the brothers' steadfast relationship and the rare underworld values they shared, values such as restraint and loyalty that would later become iconic of their demeanor. When Pedro was kidnapped in 2003, Margarito paid a full $2 million ransom immediately, absorbing the cost rather than seeking to strike back. Boss moves. Even when presented with a kidnapper on a platter, the brothers turned the other cheek, choosing to focus on growing their business rather than engaging in gang warfare. They had block spinners for sure, gang. Thanks in part to their father's contracts in Mexico, the Sinaloa cartel and the notorious Joe Quinn El Chapo Guzman soon became their main supplier. Yet, in 2008, a split within the cartel forced them into a choice between two new factions. Having previously worked with both sides and with the two new leaders locked into vicious opposition, entering into business with one would undoubtedly result in repercussions from the other. Faced with a clear lose-lose situation, the brothers made a surprising choice. They flipped, turning their back on their heritage and strong ties within the global narcotic industry and came forward to Chicago police in hopes of a plea bargain. With estimates of maneuvering over 71 tons of cocaine and nearly $2 billion in cash, the brothers represented a considerable coup for the police force, but their connections to El Chapo himself held an even bigger bounty. In a bold move, the brothers agreed to wear wires and proceeded to record over 70 different conversations with El Chapo and his highest-ranking members over the following months. Rat disaster. The decision to turn their back on the community, illicit as it may be, could not have been easy for the Flores brothers. The society in which we live in has long been seen to exert considerable influence on our personal conceptualizations of morality, and having grown up deep within the narcotic underworld, the brothers' moral compasses were likely to be skewed. With a natural inclination to downplay the real-world impacts of their line of business and a personal belief system that values loyalty and integrity above all, the fact the brothers turned their back on the community becomes all the more intriguing. For many psychologists and philosophers, morality is viewed as a learnt system, with children born as blank states free from preordained moral judgment. Our morality is seen to derive from interactions with our environment and the people that populate it. But if our sense of right and wrong is based upon our upbringing, what pushed the brothers to make such an uncharacteristic decision? One possible answer: the instinct for survival, the need to prevail at all costs, to pass our genes down generations. It is a universal trait shared by almost every living being. Many evolutionary scientists, including Darwin himself, believe that the human conception of morality and ethics to be merely an adaptation to help us survive. By developing universal laws of cooperation and outlining what the community views as right or wrong, we are shown how to act. Behaving within the norms of our community, cohesion is increased, helping to promote the survival of society in general. In this way, morality may be a universal trait of humanity, but self-preservation is the driving force behind the behavior itself. Growing up in a neighborhood dominated by illicit trade would largely normalize a life of crime, weakening instinctive judgments between right and wrong. Yet, when faced with a threat to family survival, it seems that in this case, the instinct for self-preservation won out. The Flores made their bed and suffered the consequences. They're lucky Chapo couldn't get his hands on them. He would have worked them and peeled their skins off with pliers. Upon their release from jail, likely to be 2021, these brothers have yet another hefty decision to combat. In order to ensure their survival, the U.S. government will place them within the Witness Protection Program, with the process of requiring them to forge new identities of their own. For the program to work, there can be zero contact between them upon release. U.S. District Judge Ruben Castillo sketched the reality if they don't submit to the court's recommendations. For the rest of your life, every time you start a car, you'll be wondering, will this car start or will it explode? Welcome to Chicago. Don't get backdoored. Gang.
El Chapo, the cartel boss was sentenced today to life in prison without parole.